Hey everybody, Ashton here with MuseThemes.com. Let's take a look at our new intro splash widget from Muse. This is a cool widget that displays a sequence of images in a rapid transition, and you can either use a button to trigger the sequence or set it as a page preloader that triggers when the page is loaded. This widget is great to use as a transition effect when a site visitor loads a gallery or loads a splash page. Let's jump over to Muse and take a look at how to set this up. I have our demo site loaded here, and on the home page I have a basic button that I want to trigger an image sequence. So I'm going to jump into our library and drag out the widget and drop it onto the page. And we can place it off canvas to keep it out of the way. So let's open up the settings panel. Now while I set this up, I'm going to explain each of the options here in the panel. Our first option here is mode, and there are two widget modes, either button transition or page preloader. Button transition uses a button to trigger the image animation sequence, while page preloader triggers the image animation sequence immediately upon page load. Now in this mode, the sequence will be displayed once on the page load, and again if the page is refreshed or reloaded. For now, I'm going to leave this in button transition for this example. Preloader background color. This sets the background color for the page preloader mode. Now this color will be seen briefly before the animation sequence while the images are loaded by the browser. Now this setting will only be accessible when the page preloader mode is selected. Now we have button graphic style. This is a graphic style that links the button to the widget. Now since we're using a button in this example, I'm going to link our button with the widget. Now when I select the button on our page here and we open up our graphic styles menu, you can see that I've already applied the graphic style named button to this button. Now after that, I would then enter that name into the widget panel. Now of course our graphic style is already set to the default, so we're already good to go. Next we have a couple of timing settings. Image animation duration sets the amount of time that it takes to complete the transition of an image. And image animation delay sets the delay before each image is transitioned. Longer times will increase the amount of time between image transitions. Now the default timing settings are pretty solid, so I'm just going to leave these alone for right now. And lastly, down here we have the images section. Let's expand this. And here is where we load our images. Now for this example, I'm going to use 8 images. So here I'm going to first enable images 1 through 8. And I'm going to simply click Add Image to load them all in. Okay. All right, we're looking pretty solid here. Now before we preview this, I want to jump out to our plan mode here in Muse so we can take a look at our map of pages in this example. So our button on our home page that we just set up, we have this set to link to a page over here that I've named Target. And on that page, we can kind of see here I have a button in the same place that simply links back to the home page, just to make things easy to navigate. So now I'm going to preview this in a browser, but I need to make sure to preview the site in a browser, not just the page, since our preview needs to link to another page on the site. Great. Now we'll click our button, and we see our image animation sequence, and then we go to the target page. Looking awesome. So as I mentioned before, another way this widget can be used is as a preloader. Now this mode is actually a little bit smoother because as the last image scrolls up the screen, it transitions nicely into the page. The button transition mode, on the other hand, runs the sequence and then loads the page. And with those two separate steps, you kind of miss the smooth tail end motion in that mode. So here in plan mode in Muse, I've got another page here called Preloader, where I'm going to apply the widget in Preloader mode. And to make this super simple, I'm just going to go into the home page again, copy the widget, and we can jump over to our Preloader page and simply paste it there. Now all I have to do in the settings panel is switch the mode to page preloader. And all of my images are already loaded into the widget, so I don't have to do that again, which is good. So now let's preview the page in a browser. And there we go. As the page loads, we see our image sequence, and everything's looking awesome. And note that the tail end of the animation here is a little bit smoother because it's not sending us to a new page at the end of the sequence. One more thing I want to mention before we close. As always, it's very important to optimize your images whenever possible. Keep in mind that even though the image sequence happens quickly, the browser still has to load all of the images before starting the image sequence. So large images might cause a delay as the browser has to load them. So to optimize the images, you want to start by reducing the image dimensions to a web-friendly size, such as maybe 1500 pixels on the long end, and then process your images with an image optimizer, such as JPEG Mini or tinyjpeg.com. You can also reduce image file sizes using your photo editor, such as Photoshop. You just want to aim to keep the images under about 250 kilobytes or so. So that about covers our new intro splash widget from Muse. Thanks again for watching. Reach out to support with any questions or concerns, and I'll catch you guys all in the next tutorial. Cheers.